Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheJerk. Am I the jerk for asking my girlfriend to stay in a hotel instead of moving in? I'm surprised by her emotional reaction. My girlfriend, 30 female, and I, 36 male, have been in a long-distance relationship for about 15 months. We originally met when she was visiting my state to look for a place to live. Since then, we've traveled to see each other 8 times, met each other's families, and FaceTime multiple times a day. On one trip, she even stayed in my hometown for 3 weeks. She's now planning to move cross-country to a town about 30 minutes from me because it offers the kind of lifestyle she wants. There are attractions and amenities my town doesn't have. Personally, I'd prefer if she lived closer, ideally just a few miles away. My job is demanding, I don't have a lot of free time, and I spend much of it with my parents as I currently choose to live at home with them. The issue is, she doesn't feel comfortable giving up her plan and moving to my town unless there's more of a commitment, like being engaged. She suggested living together as a compromise, but I'm hesitant. We haven't spent much extended time together in person. I also struggle with change and would feel like I'm abandoning my parents. My mom also currently cooks all my meals, which saves me a lot of time. Another concern she's raised is how much time we'd actually spend together if she moved to my town. I suggested splitting my free time 50% with her and 50% with my family, but she didn't like that and felt she should be prioritized, since she'd be the one making the big move. I don't see this as a tit-for-tat situation. I think it's important that I maintain some independence and don't make my world revolve around her. It's putting a lot of pressure on me to make her happy. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt here, but you want to maintain some independence, but you're currently living at home with your family and your mom cooks all your meals? I don't comprehend that logic. I proposed a 1-month test, where she could stay nearby in a hotel so we could see what living close to each other feels like. She didn't take that well. She said it felt demoralizing and made her question my intentions with the relationship, which I don't get. This has caused a lot of tension between us. I'm struggling with how emotionally reactive she's been. I've never dated someone who responds this emotionally before. I've tried to explain what I need, but when she gets upset, she cries, shuts down, and asks rapid-fire questions. It's hard to have a healthy conversation. Am I the jerk in this? Too long didn't read, my long-distance girlfriend is moving cross-country to live near me and wants us to move in together or get engaged. I'm not ready for that level of commitment and suggested she stay nearby in a hotel for a month instead. She got very upset and feels demoralized, and now there's a lot of tension. Am I the asshole? Okay, so basically, from my understanding, you and your girlfriend have been long distance for 15 months. You guys have spent several times together, where it's up to 3 weeks period, including in your hometown. She wants to move closer to you, but she doesn't want to move into the same area as you. She wants to move in about 30 minutes away, which honestly is not that far away if I'm gonna be honest with you. That's about how long it takes me to get to my local game store. But you don't want that. You want her to be closer than 30 minutes away. You want her to move into her town, which does not support the lifestyle that she wants to have. So, if she's going to do that, she wants more of a commitment from you if she's going to make that choice to sacrifice those amenities to be with you. You don't want that because you want to maintain independence by having your mom continue to cook your meals and continue to have family time with them. Apparently. And have suggested to her that because you're not quite ready to get rid of the independence, you want her to move closer, but live in a hotel for a month so you can feel it out. She is making a massive change to her life for you, and you can't be fucked with a 30-minute difference and want her to be closer, but don't want her to be too close because you still want your independence. So live in a hotel for a month so I can see how I like it. After 15 months, she wants commitment, you want a beta test. Yeah. You're kind of being a jerk here, dude. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for thinking my wife's discipline is too harsh? My wife and I have 4 kids. 13-year-old, twins, 8-year-old, and a 4-month-old. PPD with our last baby, and she often struggles in a sense of her not being able to turn her brain off. She's getting better, but she's still snappy at times. I currently work 12 overnight shifts 5 days a week, and she works 20 hours a week from home. Due to this, she has the kids constantly, and she's very, very touched out. Ever since she gave birth, our older 3 have been over-the-top clingy and seem to be reverting back to toddler stage. Like our daughter, one of the 13-year-old twins, earlier asked my wife how to plug in the microwave. Or all of a sudden, our 8-year-old is asking his mother to help him find clothes and tie his shoes for him again. It's a desperate cry for attention. We're all in therapy, both individual and family therapy. And the therapist is helping us work through it, but it seems to be getting worse. Like, we can't even plan a family outing without the kids, without the 3 older kids either gripping on their mother or walking so close in front/behind her that they're tripping her and refuse to watch out when told. So it has absolutely been hell, but like I said, we're trying to work through this with therapy. Well, 2 weeks ago, my wife implicated a rule. Okay, for once it was not my dyslexia. Well, 2 weeks ago, my wife implemented a rule that no one was allowed to talk to her when she had her headphones in or when she's taking a shower. That's pretty reasonable. As I'm sure you guessed already, the kids were even bugging her endlessly during those times, and my wife stated she needs a fucking break in silence and for people to stop hanging off her arm. She even snapped the other day saying, "Can none of you do anything for yourselves? No? Why don't I wipe your asses for you too while I'm at it?" Because our son, 13-year-old twin, asked her where his cup was instead of moving the coffee pot to look for himself, and then asked her at the same time to make him mac and cheese, despite knowing how, because yours tastes better. She was in the middle of feeding the baby, so she snapped. Anyway, now no one is allowed to bug her under any circumstances when she's showering or when she has Why is that a needed rule? Why does she need to specify that she's not allowed to be bugged while showering? Any circumstances when she's showering or when she has headphones in. Maybe once a week for the headphones, showering every other day for maybe 10 minutes so it's not a huge ask. Yes, it is not. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I get a text from my son earlier saying Mom is grounding us and taking our stuff away for a week, and then zero response. I got home about an hour later and my wife is livid. All the kids' electronics are piled on the counter and all the kids are in their bedrooms with the door shut. I asked what happened, and she said she went to take a shower, and the kids came in 5 times in a 10-minute period. Holy shit. So she grounded them from everything for a week and sent them to their rooms. I feel she's being too harsh because I know they just want her attention. Now she's pissed at me for, quote, making her feel bad for needing a fucking minute to herself, end quote. Am I the asshole? I feel horrible for your wife, dude. Like, I understand you're working 12 hours a day, but what are you doing to help the kids out, like on the weekends and whatnot? I mean, she is so overwhelmed and overworked, and the kids are being so clingy. They're 13 and 8. They should not be doing this. They should not be going to their mom while she's showering and interrupting her. Like, it's at a point where she literally has no free time to herself because for some reason the entire family unit is clinging to her arm. Therapy is certainly a good step, but she is 100% nearing a breaking point and she needs more time to herself. I do think that grounding a 13-year-old for interrupting their mother while showering when she specifically asked them not to is an entirely reasonable reaction. Like, she is so overwhelmed that she only gets a 10-minute shower every other day and she can't even get that moment to herself. And it's not like she was interrupted once while showering 5 times in 10 minutes. I feel suffocated just reading this. And I think the reason why this post ended up in r/AmITheDevil because there's not really much of a mention of what OP is doing to help his wife out besides telling her that the punishment she delivered is too harsh. She needs a fucking break, dog. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for assuming that someone would know that people would be expecting more than 2 strips of bacon as the meat on a sandwich? At my prolonged work meeting today, I was tasked with being the ordering lunch person. That's not my normal role. The person who usually does it is out sick, and I stupidly volunteered. Several people ordered chicken BLTs, and when I was passing our orders down to the front desk, I asked for everything right, except that I wrote that we want 4 BLTs and forgot to specify chicken or turkey. I realized I forgot to specify which meat we wanted right after I sent it, but I figured if it came back turkey instead of chicken, it would be fine and wouldn't be worth bothering the downstairs staffer to try getting corrected at that point. What arrived for those 4 people was sandwiches that contained only bacon, lettuce, and tomato. That's what you ordered. You ordered a BLT. The amount of bacon was just 2 strips. I thought it would be common sense that they would include a more satiating meat and should have replied to make sure that was right. Everyone in the meeting acted like this was my fault. I'm thinking of asking the downstairs secretary why she didn't reply back before ordering 4 all-condiment sandwiches. Am I the asshole here? Yes, you ordered a BLT. 4 of them. Did not specify them to be chicken BLTs. Expected the downstairs staff to read your mind, and then was shocked when you received 4 bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches. Also, unless condiment has different definitions from state to state, kind of like soda or pop, from my experience, condiments usually include things like ketchup or mayo or barbecue sauce or mustard. You knew you fucked up the moment you submitted the order and just assumed that they would correct it and understand that you made the mistake of ordering a perfectly normal meal of a BLT sandwich. Now, I can kind of understand that 2 strips of bacon is pretty small for a BLT, but still, technically also adding turkey or chicken to it would make it a club sandwich, so you ordering a BLT is literally exactly what you got. Also, here's just an interesting comment from OP. I'm getting a lot of flack from this. I get that you might throw together a sandwich with just bacon, lettuce, and tomato at home, but would you actually expect someone to order that at a meeting where each staffer has a meal voucher, and some people are ordering things like lobster bisque? I'm still open to being wrong, but I got heat for it, and this was in front of someone who has a say in my career. And then someone responds below, "They gave you exactly what you ordered, dude. A BLT is a common order. This is on you." And another comment below that one, "Whose fault could this possibly be other than yours?" And while he says that he's open to being wrong, he just continually doubles down. User No Sunday commented, "You're the asshole. A BLT is just that. If you want a meat or anything else added, you need to provide that information. Don't try to blame the secretary as people order BLTs all the time. You are the one who didn't follow through and didn't clarify." To which the OP responded, question mark, question mark, question mark? People order sandwiches that are just bacon, turkey, and lettuce all the time? That's not what the T stands for! It's tomato! During a staff meeting for lunch? Ah, I see. Okay, Mr. Lobster Bisque for lunch over here doesn't realize that a BLT is bacon, lettuce, tomato and think it's bacon, lettuce, turkey. So he just thought that people would be okay with receiving turkey instead of chicken and was shocked to find out that the T in BLT stands for tomato and not turkey, and is now actively trying to blame the secretary and downstairs crew for fucking the sandwiches up despite him just not knowing a common sandwich. Thing is OP could have easily just salvaged this by going, "Oh, my bad, I for some reason thought it was bacon, lettuce, turkey, and I forgot to specify that it was chicken. This is on me. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." If OP just owned up to this, a lot of people would be pretty understanding, but the fact that he's doubling down and trying to blame anyone but himself is what puts him into the category that he finds himself here. And that category is the title of the video. Cross posted from r/relationship advice. My, 36 female, best friend, 35 male, is in an abusive relationship, but he moved away and I don't know how to help him. Throwaway account because she's probably spying on me. Buckle in for this one, by the way. I, 35 female, met my best friend of 10 years. Let's call him Tyler, 35 male, when he was in music school and we were waiting tables together. We hooked up for a few months, but decided we were better off being friends. When he graduated, we decided to get a place together. We still hooked up casually until both of us got in serious relationships. When our lease was up, he moved in with his then girlfriend. That didn't work out. They had a terrible breakup and Tyler was devastated. I wanted him to come stay with me, but then his band booked a summer gig in a beach town about 7 hours away. He didn't want to move away, but he had no choice. His lead singer was friends with current girlfriend, let's call her Sydney, for years, but Tyler didn't meet her until halfway through that summer. She's significantly older, almost 50. To be fair, she doesn't look or act it, but really? He assured me it was casual, but right away, I didn't trust her. My plans for Labor Day weekend fell apart at the last minute, so my boyfriend and I decided to go visit Tyler. At first, he said we were welcome to stay at Sydney's. He had a house in another beach town about 30 minutes away, but he was staying with her that weekend because they had plans. His band ended up booking gigs out of town the first 2 nights we would be there. He called and said he wasn't going to be around, so it would be better if we came 1 day later and stayed at his place instead, saying the beach there was just as nice. I was floored. My best friend had never treated me this way. I told him we just wouldn't come if we weren't welcome. After a few days of arguing, we agreed to come a day later and stay at his house, but I made it clear Sydney was so rude to uninvite us, and I had no interest in meeting her. He actually tried to defend her, saying it wasn't her, he just couldn't ask her to drop everything to entertain us all weekend when he wasn't even going to be there. It was already becoming clear how controlling she was. Since Tyler wasn't getting back until late at night, the plan, clearly her plan, was for us to meet them the next morning at a brunch event. When we arrived, they were already at a table full of people eating and drinking Bloody Marys. It was clear Sydney was expecting us to join them, but we were not there to hang out with people he would never see again after he moved home. I pulled Tyler aside and said my boyfriend was uncomfortable with their friends wearing bikinis and funny costumes, and we were going to sit at a table across the room. Sydney was not happy that he left them to come sit with us. Tyler was visibly upset that she was being so awful. Or was he visibly upset with you? He was so distracted he barely listened when I was trying to fill him in on everything he missed over the summer. When the event started and it was getting really crowded, I said we needed to go somewhere quiet so we could have an actual conversation. We found a diner down the street that wasn't loud or crowded, and I finally got to catch him up on everything we'd been doing. It wasn't enough that Sydney tried to ruin our day, but that night, she wanted to go see their friend's band playing one town over. Tyler took her side, saying he never gets to see other bands because he's always playing. We had no choice but to go. When we got there, I followed Sydney into the bathroom to warn her. He was on the rebound and couldn't handle a relationship. She blew me off, saying she had no agenda and they were both on the same page, as if she knew my best friend better than me. My boyfriend did not like the band, and after the first date, I told Tyler we'd had enough. Sydney offered to pay for an Uber so he didn't have to leave. Huge red flag. I told Tyler that just because she was older and successful, he shouldn't let her control him with money, and that we were his guests, so he needed to drive us to where we were staying. Sydney refused to leave and said she would just ride home with the band. Again, no manners. But I was glad to have a chance to talk to him about how manipulative and entitled she was acting, and how worried I was. He defended her again, saying they'd had these plans for weeks. I said she should just show more respect for his best friend, who had driven all this way, and I was right about not wanting to meet her. He was supposed to move home when his lease was up, but his band booked a few more gigs, so Sydney asked him to stay at her house. So much for having no agenda. When he finally moved home about 3 weeks later, I thought their summer fling was over. But it turns out she had invited him on a trip to the Caribbean with some friends, and he had invited her to come visit him for a few days. But she was going to Europe in a month, and all the times before that when she could visit, I already had plans with Tyler. He took her side again, asking if we could reschedule. But I told him he had already blown me off for her once by letting her dictate everything when we visited, and I wouldn't put up with it again. He didn't mention her for a while after that, so I thought I had gotten through to him. But a few months later, his band played in the city she lived in, not the beach. I guess the lead singer called her and she invited the band to stay with her. I told Tyler to get a hotel room so she couldn't start her bullshit again, but he said he could handle it. It was supposed to be for the weekend, but he didn't come home for a week. It's not like him to not check in. Suddenly, the Caribbean trip was back on. I was really worried at that point, but I was not prepared for what happened next. The other couples had issues with COVID tests, so it was just the two of them. A little too convenient. I'm not sure there was ever a group going. I think this is when Tyler got confused and started thinking of it as a real relationship with a future. When they first got there, Tyler was texting me back the normal amount, but soon his text came back slower and slower. His ex had posted some nasty tweets about Sydney's age. I thought he should know, so I sent him screenshots, laughing about how I was looking forward to their feud. He didn't respond until the next day, when he said it wasn't a feud. It was his ex being jealous and ridiculous, and Sydney had nothing to do with it. I said semantics, but he didn't respond. When I texted him the next day, he told me several gigs were canceled because of a blizzard, so they were staying an extra week and he would talk to me when they got home from vacation. That's when I knew he was not okay. My best friend had always been there for me, and now I felt like I couldn't reach out about anything going on with me. Sydney was clearly threatened by our friendship because he would never do that on his own. When he finally got back, he told me that Sydney was coming to our city with their beach friends in 10 days to see a band reunion. She claims she bought her plane tickets during the time they weren't talking, but it was obviously a ploy to get him back. He invited her to stay with him after the weekend so she could introduce her to his parents and show her around our city. Obviously, her plan worked. His band went back on the road, so I didn't see him for another week. We made plans to go out, but I got called into work. He said he had plans to Zoom with Sydney to plan their trip since she was arriving that weekend, and he'd canceled on her twice to keep plans with me. I was livid, but I didn't let on. I calmly explained that I needed him. I hadn't talked to him in weeks, and it was really important that I get to spend some time with my best friend. When he got to my place, he said he could only stay out for a couple of drinks. Then he was going home to Zoom with her. I asked what she wanted that was so important, but he mumbled about changing her plane ticket, coordinating dinner with his parents, and making arrangements for everything else they were going to do. This was the last straw. I started screaming that Sydney was a grown-ass woman who shouldn't need him to hold her hand, but she was blatantly manipulating him, that isolating him from his friends is a sign of abuse. I said I knew he would never tell me not to text him, and I knew she made him say it. Wait. I said I knew he would never tell me not to text him, and I knew she made him say it. So he told her to stop texting him, but she's convinced it was Sydney. She had probably stolen his phone, and she was obviously a complete nutjob who couldn't take a hint. He didn't defend her. He just apologized and asked why I didn't text him if I needed him. As if I would do that when he clearly had better things to do. We went to a bar and I finally got to tell him everything going on with me. I forbid him to look at his phone. If she can do it, I can do it. We ended up drinking heavily and I made him sleep at my house instead of driving home. The next morning, he freaked because he missed several texts from her. I guess she still thought their Zoom date was happening. I got him calmed down, assuring him he was better off without her, and he should let this be a clean break. I checked on him the next afternoon, and he was even more upset. Sydney told him she was sticking to original plans with her friends and ended things with him. He had sent her flowers, but she refused to go to the door. She's a middle-aged woman, and she's freaking out because he didn't call when she wanted him to. I sent him a few articles about emotional abuse and made him promise to read them. It's all I could think to do. I offered to hang out that weekend so he wouldn't mope around, but when I got off work, he didn't text me back. A while back, I had convinced him to share his location with me because what the fuck? A while back, I had convinced him to share his location with me because he was really drunk and I was worried about him. He never turned it off, so I could see he was at a hotel near the concert venue. He was clearly with her. When he finally got back to his place, I called and asked what he did the night before. He had the nerve to lie and say nothing. I gave him another chance and asked if he stayed in all night. He said yes. This was too much. I went off on him, telling him I could see he was with Sydney, and he was obviously too embarrassed to admit it. I said best friends don't lie to each other, and he had become someone I didn't want to know. Someone who would choose money and trips and partying over a 10-year friendship. He tried to apologize, but I told him I wasn't going to put up with his disrespect. I said our friendship was over and hung up. I thought he would call me back, but he didn't. So I texted him, saying again that I'm sorry, but I can't watch him destroy his life over someone like her. He responded by unsharing his location. I did a lot of journaling, getting my feelings out, how much he meant to me, how he was always there for me, and I could tell him anything. How hurt I was that my best friend of 10 years was treating me like this. How horrified I was that he was pursuing a relationship with such an awful person and choosing her over me. When I got it all out, I sent it to him in a series of texts. No response. I blocked them both on Facebook, which turned out to be a mistake because both of their pages are private, so when I unblocked them, I couldn't see either page to know what they were up to. I reblocked her so she couldn't spy on me, but I left the door open for him to reach out to me. I texted a few more times, but got nothing. Sydney had clearly forbidden him from apologizing. I heard through mutual friends that his band played another tour, and she had gone with him, and he was planning to live with her at the beach that summer. His band broke up, but he got a job in her friend's bar, which led him to joining another band. I had some friends text him to intervene. One of them he ignored completely, and the other reported back that Tyler told her our friendship was over, that he didn't do it, but it was for the best. I was devastated that he wasn't even willing to fight for me. I sent him another text saying we just had a fight, the friendship didn't have to be over, and we could work it out. I told him I missed my best friend, talking to him, all the fun we had, but she had obviously made him choose. I sent him one more text saying I was worried he'd been brainwashed, and to please let me help get his own life back. No response. It's been months since I sent that last text. His new band doesn't play in our city, but he brings her home for holidays and other events. People tell me when they see him out, but obviously, she's too threatened to let him contact his old friends. He's completely isolated now. Reaching out to his family won't help. I don't really know them. They've accepted her into their lives because they clearly don't see her for who she is. Has anyone experienced this? Is he too far gone? Do I have to wait for him to hit rock bottom before I can get my best friend back? This whole thing is a fucking yikes, and I don't even know where to begin unpacking this. This is just a lot. Like, Tyler was very clearly in an abusive relationship, but holy shit, it was not Sydney. Girl, you need therapy or something. Like, one of the red flags that you claimed was her offering to pay for an Uber for you guys to head back to the place that you guys were staying at because you weren't having a good time, so that way Tyler could remain at the venue he was enjoying, but oh no, that was controlling. Instead, you wanted Tyler to leave the venue to drive you back home. And that's just one of the many examples that you've given here that are supposed to paint Sydney in a horrible light, like, oh god, oh, the horror of inviting Tyler to the fucking Caribbean. Oh no, oh, that's horrible. Let's not even begin to approach the fact that you purposely got him wasted so he would miss his Zoom date with Sydney, and then they ended up breaking up because of that, or at least temporarily breaking up. Like, you are a destructive force within this guy's life, and if you would have just taken a step back, accepted the new relationship, and just continued to try to be there for him, you two would still be friends. Also, how have you been his best friend for a decade, but don't know his family? I just actually don't have enough time to break down every single problem with this one, but she is certainly something. Cross-posted from r/am I wrong? Am I wrong for telling my girlfriend to rein in her daddy issues while we're visiting my family? Throwaway because my cousins know my actual account. My girlfriend, Shay, female 27, and I, male 26, are on a small vacation to my hometown. She's only ever met my dad and extended family unit, aunt, uncle, and cousins, over the phone, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to introduce everyone properly. But since we've arrived, Shay's behavior towards my dad has been seriously off-putting. For example, I thought it would be fun if we all went horseback riding. My younger cousins do it as a hobby, so I thought it would be nice to do an activity we'd all like. But Shay wouldn't even get on the horse because she said she was scared. It's been years since I've been on a horse, but they were so calm and honestly not a problem at all. I offered to stay with her while the others enjoyed themselves, but she insisted I go because my dad already offered to stay behind. He doesn't usually go horseback riding either. It was weird that she didn't want me there too, but I left it be. There have been other instances too, like how she asked my dad to show her around town instead of staying with me and meeting my old friend from high school. It was an impromptu meetup. We literally ran into him while we were looking for somewhere to get lunch with my dad. But it would have been nice if she made the effort to get to know him instead of going with my dad. The final straw was when we were all at my aunt's house for dinner. She made cupcakes, baking is kinda her thing, and she made some chocolate and peanut butter ones specifically because they're my dad's favorite. She made a few different types of cupcakes, but none of the others were my other relatives' favorite flavors. When we got back to our Airbnb, I confronted her. I know Shay's dad left when she was a teen and they're no contact, so I figured she might be clinging to my dad because it's nice to have a fatherly presence and not something she's used to. I asked her, jokingly, to rein in her daddy issues and stop being so clingy with my dad. She blew up at me, telling me that she's trying her best to fit in and that I've put no effort in making her feel welcome. Neither of us were willing to compromise, and I ended up sleeping somewhere else for the night. I need to talk things out with her today, but before I do, I want to make sure I'm not in the wrong. So, your girlfriend was getting along with your family and going out of her way to do nice things, and you said that this was daddy issues and told her to knock it off. Example 1 was literally something where you wanted to go horseback riding, your father and your girlfriend didn't, so they just stayed behind. The next one, you ran into a friend while you, your father, and your girlfriend were out exploring the town. Your girlfriend probably just wanted to continue exploring the town, but didn't want to interrupt the time that you were spending with your friend. And then the next one, oh no, your girlfriend made a cupcake flavor that your father enjoys. Yes, she didn't make any of your other families, like aunts and uncles' favorite cupcake flavors, but that's because he's your father. She's just trying to make a good impression on your family, and you're calling it daddy issues, making it weird. Having a partner that's involved with your family is a good thing. A great thing, even. Stop making it weird. And definitely don't refer to her trying to have an actual, positive relationship with your father as daddy issues. Kinda also fucked up you're weaponizing her trauma against her because she wants a good relationship with your father because, it's a normal thing to want in a relationship. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.